Hey everyone, Jennifer Lee Chan here from NBC Sports Bay Area. This is your Thursday update. It is a final Thursday update of this season. Crazy that we've gotten to this point. But here I am at Levi Stadium, and it was a practice with a lot of players sitting out. All right, so here's the list of players that did not practice today. Obviously, Brock Purdy, Robert Beal, Aaron Banks, Jair Brown was downgraded, so he had an ankle injury. He was in limited participation on Wednesday, did not practice on Thursday. Spencer Burford, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, and Leonard Floyd. I saw those two on the side field working with the medical staff. Deommodore Lenoir still out with a shoulder injury. Colton McKivitz, Brock Purdy also, obviously, I said Deebo Samuel. So limited, guys. This is a good sign for George Kittle is limited, Isaac Yiadom, Ricky Pearsall limited. Full back to full participation, Isaac Guerendo and Talanoa Hufanga. So very sparse offensive line grouping. I actually walked by the offensive line and into my recorder said all of the numbers, and there was a couple that I wasn't too quite sure of. So again, it's going to be for the offensive line in front of Josh Dobbs, who's been named the starter. It is going to be again a rotation, probably at left tackle. Chris Foerster spoke today and said he did like the way they played. I mean, it is never Chris Foerster has been coaching for probably 30 something years. Kyle Shanahan has been in the NFL coaching for at least 20 years. Neither one of them have ever pulled an offensive lineman or any player whatsoever from another team and had them start the next week. So this is unprecedented injury levels here at the 49ers. And it's going to be a tough one for Josh Dobbs, but he does have playmaking ability. Josh Dobbs is, a mobile quarterback. He's been playing that mobile quarterback when when he was on the scout team and they were preparing for the Arizona Cardinals earlier in the season. Josh Dobbs played the role of Kyler Murray. And so he is mobile. He can make plays with his feet, but the test is going to be, can he play within Kyle Shanahan's system? And that's what they'll be looking for on Sunday. Good thing for Josh Dobbs, though, is that Jauan Jennings is on the team. Now, Jauan Jennings is 77 yards away from hitting 1,000 yards. And I asked Josh Dobbs, hey, how has it been working with Jauan Jennings? Has that helped your transition to the 49ers? And he said, absolutely. He's gotten to know a lot of the players in the locker room, but knowing Jauan Jennings on a personal level has helped him kind of get acclimated to the 49ers. And he said, yes, we're not going to force feed the ball to Jauan Jennings, but we are going to try and get him that 1,000 yards, hopefully earlier in the game, so they're not pushing it towards the end. Kyle Shanahan said also that, yes, they were going to try to do that. Normally, Kyle Shanahan doesn't really pay attention to that type of statistic in the middle of a game, but because they aren't going to the playoffs, this is their last game. They are going to try and give Jauan Jennings the chance to hit that 1,000-yard mark, which is by far so much more, almost 600 yards more than his previous high, which is 413 yards. And that was in his third season with the 49ers. And so he's already 500 yards over that. It's really incredible, Jauan Jennings' story, his path. He came in the COVID year. He didn't have any practice, no OTAs, 2 weeks of training camp, and they were off into games. He got cut, and then he made his way back. So, sometimes when the work is harder, the rewards are almost sweeter. So for him to become really wide receiver one in this year where Ricky Pearsall was injured, Brandon Ayuk was injured. Deebo Samuel has been in and out of the lineup with injuries. So for him to come in and be wide receiver one is, it's a guy that I remember seeing as a rookie. And, I'm always excited for a guy who finally gets their due, finally gets the chance, and, that's put in the work, that gets the chance to show what they're capable of. So happy for Jauan Jennings to hopefully hit this 1,000-yard mark. Another guy who should be really involved is Ricky Pearsall. He had his breakout game, 141 yards versus the Detroit Lions. This is a big game for him in Arizona. This is a homecoming for him. He grew up in Arizona, went to high school there. He was at Arizona State, and then he went to Florida. And he told me his mom has 55 family members coming to the game. But, that doesn't throw Ricky Pearsall at all. He is so smooth, so confident, so comfortable, and he really has come into his own at the end of the season here. So good thing for Ricky Pearsall. A lot of hometown fans cheering for him on Sunday. It'll be a fun sight to see. Isaac Guerendo, fully not on the injury report at all, full participation, so he'll be ready to go. I love seeing Isaac Rendo at the beginning of every practice with his homework ready to give to Bobby Turner. I mean, it's just he's such a great coach. And you look at how many running backs Bobby Turner has put out on the field and made them successful. And you just think he's one of the best in the job. Um, Pro Bowl nominations were announced, and four players from the 49ers were elected to the Pro Bowl. That is Kyle Juszczyk, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, and Fred Warner. So in a tough season, those four players have obviously done a really good job and still have great statistics. Most of them top in their category. George Kittle also won the Niver Award, which is the Media Good Guy Award, who for the guy in the locker room who does their best to cooperate with us, and we cooperate with him. And George Kittle has just been fantastic this season. It's been a challenging season, and while I respect George constant positivity. This year, he was real. Yes, he was positive, but he was positive in a real way. Like he took what was happening on the field and didn't just turn it around and say, "Oh, everything's great." He was real about it. He said, "Yes, it's challenging, but this is why, and this is why, and this is why." And he was very sincere in his answers this year, and we all appreciate it. And he was available at all times to talk, and just a great guy who's a locker room. That's why he has the C on his chest. So I can't give George Kittle enough compliments. So he was the Gary Niver Good Guy Award. Alternates for the Pro Bowl: Leonard Floyd, Diamador Lenore, Trent Williams, and Brock Purdy. So I know Diamador Lenore went on social media and said, he got snubbed from the Pro Bowl. Yes and no. I think sometimes, there is some name recognition that has to go into being named to the Pro Bowl. So he doesn't quite have that yet, but I think it's growing. And I think the more he does, I think the more he'll get towards the Pro Bowl. One thing that Diamador Lenore has to do that this defense has not done is take away the ball. You've got to get interceptions. You've got to get pass breakups. That's why Charvarius Ward was able to make second team All Pro in 2023 is he led the league in pass breakups. He didn't even make first team All Pro. So for Diamador Lenore to say he got snubbed, I completely understand it. He has been playing really good football. Obviously, the 49ers love him. They gave him a almost $90 million contract. So obviously he's doing something right. But sometimes, Pro Bowl votes are kind of funky. So I'm sure Diamador Lenore is heading there soon, but got to get those takeaways. That's the thing that the 49ers need to do in Arizona is generate some takeaways. This is something that they've been doing consistently over the past several years, but just they haven't been able to do it this year. And so that would be my key to the game on Sunday versus the Arizona Cardinals. I think that's about all I've got for you on a Thursday. I did do an Ask Papa segment. That's going to be on the 49ers Talk podcast. Wrote a couple stories today. So definitely check all of that out. This is a young team. It's going to get better. You've got so many rookies who are contributing. You've got Renardo Green. It's D Winters, who's not necessarily a rookie, but still a young player. Malik Mustafa. It is Dominic Pooney, it's Ricky Pearsall, it's Jacob Cowing. These guys that are young, they're contributing already, which means they've gotten game reps. They're only going to get better. So that miscommunication that's been happening on defense is going to get better. It's going to get cleaner. They just have to keep everybody healthy, which, a win on Sunday will springboard them into that 2025 season. So, we'll get into draft needs and all that kind of stuff after the final game. But until then, we'll keep you updated on what's happening with the 49ers in this season. Just one game left, and I'll keep you updated here. Please hit the like button. Also, subscribe. I'd love to have you guys come back over and over again. I'll keep posting short videos as well. I think those kind of do better a little bit for me than these long form things, but I'll keep doing them. So definitely subscribe, tell your friends, and I'll keep doing them. All right. Hope you guys are well, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.